Hi, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO of Digital Leadership Associates. With me today is Jowan. We're really pleased to have you with me today because on your LinkedIn profile, you call yourself a biohacker, and I don't think I've ever met a biohacker before. We're going to talk about data and the importance of data, and we're going to talk about some future things about data and the importance of holding our data. But before we get started, where can people get hold of you?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. And I'm going to spell your name. So it's Jowan Österlund.
Yeah. That's it.
Jowan Österlund.
Two dots over the O's.
Yeah.
So it becomes
they're on my keyboard. I don't have those, so it just forgets those. I mean, you've got a really interesting LinkedIn profile.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And what would be useful, this just give people an idea about, your journey. How did you get to where you are now?
A profound interest in anything sci-fi and technology, especially technology integrated in the body. So John Mnemonic and Ghost in the Shell, stuff like that. 15 years of professional piercing and stumbling upon biocompatible along with a friend of mine who's he's a grade A red hat.
Right.
So we started experimenting with it immediately because I knew how to aseptically and clinically put it into the body in a safe way.
Yeah.
The only minor hurdle was if it would work in the saline and alkaline environment, which is our meat bag. But it worked. It worked like a charm. So.
Okay, we're going to come back to that in a moment. But let's talk about data for a start, because people who watched, these are all prepared. So we had a long telephone conversation, which was, for me, was absolutely fascinating. And I relayed a number of these bits of the conversation to people, and everyone was going, "I don't believe you." So first and foremost, data. I mean, most people understand now that data is really important, certainly with the Facebook Cambridge Analytica stuff. And the fact that we seem to be spreading it all over the place like confetti at a wedding. You have some really interesting views on data and about how we should own our data and we need to take control of our data.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we could basically achieve global income, or at least European base income, by just taking charge and monetizing of our own proprietary data. Right now, we just spread it. We let go of it and we let someone else do the monetizing because it's semi-monopolized of sorts. But now, with the support from the GDPR, you can basically just retract all of your data, everything you ever created since you joined Facebook in 2007, and we'll just provide you the platform to broker your data and to store it, or just take it back and store it offline. Starting to conceptualize the value of what you create in any given everyday scenario is basically you'd pay for your electric bill in 2 weeks.
Right.
Just doing whatever it is you do. Play free games.
Because you said something really interesting about free games. Well, I told this to people. So you said if you buy a free game, what happens is that there's an advert comes up, and when you actually have accepted the terms and conditions of the free game, when the advert comes up, it actually accesses your front camera and can see whether you're happy with the advert. Yeah. And I said that to people, and they said no way.
Yeah, well, it's right there in the license agreement. Just read it.
Yeah.
But no one takes the time to read IP litigation lawyer talk for 100 pages in super fine print, because you're not going to be arsed, right? It's going to take you hours and hours and hours, and every license agreement applies to every app and every I mean, I just got an iPhone because of iOS 12 that's releasing now 19th, because they can read NDEF in sleep mode.
Right.
I thought, wow, that's.
What does that mean?
So I can, whenever I activate my phone, or if it's in sleep mode, I can just scan my hand and unlock the phone, or that prompts an additional verification model.
Right.
That means that even though they're a bit behind on allowing it to write to NDEF or write to an NFC chip, they still have the better antenna, which is kind of annoying because it's not open source. But they got the better hardware.
What have you got in your hand? What have you got in your hand then?
Oh, a microchip.
Right.
So I would be able to go from sleep mode and just open my phone with my microchip.
Right.
And that would prompt the facial recognition. And that could, in its turn, prompt a 6-digit code if I want to be ridiculously safe. But it's not very much value. So the phone itself, basically.
Right.
I mean, the possibilities are endless in seamlessly integrating yourself to your super connected surroundings with topping. I mean, you get exceptionally higher security without compromising convenience, and you get rid of. Well, I don't know how many cards you use per year, but somewhat too many. 6 billion cards per year.
So you talk about being able to walk out of you want to be in a position where you merge, where you own your data, but you merge tech and the human body to the point where you can walk out the house with nothing. So you can get rid of your wallet, your cards, your money, everything, because it's connected to you somewhere in shape or form, whether it's in a hand or.
Yeah, I mean, you can in essence connect your digital person and digital entire personality and tie it to your physical one, or you can tie it to one physical token. I wouldn't recommend it, because if you lose that one, you're kind of screwed. But there always have to be a pretty easy manual way to kind of reboot or kind of reset. But yeah, the ultimate goal is definitely never needing anything more than the phone. And when my phone's dead, that's not going to be the ultimate chaotic moment, because there's always going to be a manually digital way of proving my value and verifying my value and my identity. So either if it's my car, or if it's my door, or if it's the convenience store, I get robbed and end up in the outback. If I get to a road, I'm going to be able to sign a smart contract with it, just ensuring the cab driver that, okay, it's not going to get paid now, but that value gets locked down as soon as it gets in or transferred. And I am first in line to get back that. There's just so much you can do with the existing infrastructure, that you can just have a smooth, easy lifestyle.
Right. And so what have you got in what have you got in your hand?
Well, right now, so Biohax install. This one contains. I activate and deactivate the alarm in the lean shipping studio. I go by train. I go to the gym.
So similar to we have this thing called Oyster in London, where you swipe you swipe your credit card, or you have a card. You've actually got that now in your hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So office here in Helsingborg, lean shipping, access management and printer access, and self-checkout in the cafeteria and the Stockholm office. What else? LinkedIn profile. I have some passive text. I connect with My Wellness in 60,000 locations globally. What else? Well, soon I can unlock my iPhone. I just had to because of that, because the antenna is just great.
Right.
So down the line, payments, real-time data migration is, when you think of it, I mean, imagine living in Belgium. You're a French speaker, married to a German speaker, and your kid is born in a Flemish part.
Yep.
And you're going to change schools. That's like 9 miles of paper and 600 hours worth of administration, which is just a waste of human resource and resource and paper. People actually holding physical papers, moving them from one office to the other, getting stamps and approvals and signatures, just hemorrhaging tax money, which is annoying because there's a lot of holes to fill instead of pushing papers. I mean, I think that's the situation everywhere, and all because of data. If you had it all connected to you and on you, with you at all times, everything could be much smoother. You don't have to do a major upgrade in infrastructure. It's all there already.
You talk about the importance of owning your own data and actually having control of that. What have you done for yourself in terms of, because, just to, from my data, I've got part of my data is on Facebook, part of my data is on Instagram, part of my data is on, people will have bought my details and it will be sitting in some database somewhere where they start mailing me things that I don't want to buy. So what have you done that's different than everybody else?
Right now, nothing really, because I'm just planning on how to protect everyone else's.
Okay.
But I have the major plan, and when it's all set, just push the red button, verify your actual identity or digital identity with whatever means is available locally. And then just get it all back, and then you start deciding on what do I want to share, what do I want to sell, how do I want it to be distributed, what parts of my data points can I give away or sell, or what's most important to me. And the most important thing of that is I want it to be a well-informed decision. So instead of making a more and more advanced license agreement that gnaws down on your privacy and integrity piece by piece, the more zeros I get on the last row, I'll just dish it out. So this is how it is. This is what you're worth. This is what you're making, and I'll just want to provide the platform for you to monetize on it.
Because you when we talked on the phone, you talked about there being like this trigger point where we're now getting to the point where in our lives where there's so much data on us in so many different places that actually we need to get to the point where we go stop and we actually take control of that, because otherwise what's going to happen in the future is something you explained it, but I can't remember what it was, but it was basically something awful. So explain to me what happens if we don't get control of the data.
Well, I'd say we have the first chance since industrialization to actually decide on our own, because the digipolitical dimension growing on top of the old tug of war, that's the geopolitical status quo. We don't have to be in line, like production, administration, and if you had a little blue blood, you'd be a leader or a boss. I mean, now you can choose for yourself, and one of those being taking control over your own identity is probably going to be the only time in a couple of 100 years that you actually can do that. And now with support of GDPR, which is a fairly extensive regulation allowing you to dictate exactly what happens to you. I mean, in a commercial point of view, I would love for everyone to produce biodata.
Right.
And like synaptic data, and just provide it, just like we do today. If you spread it out, like if you contribute it freely, we can have algorithms and AI dictating with more certainty than you. I mean, if you're hungover, you're not sure what you're going to do, but an algorithm will, because they have been tracing your shopping patterns since 2007. So they can, with an 87.7% accuracy, kind of know what your next purchase is based on what type of commercials you get fed with. So the more data we provide, the more accurate that number is. I mean, with an AI and extensive data, they'd know with 102% certainty. Well, that would probably be the perfect consumer system, is you just get stuff pinged to you with drones. So ping, 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 ping. They would know better than you.
You talk.
That's not where we want to end up, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I actually would like more information. I would like people to have more information about me. For example, when we spoken, I'd recently been to see the Mission Impossible film, the Tom Cruise film, and I've probably seen most of those. And I would actually like, if there was the next Mission Impossible film being filmed, I'd actually like someone to actually say, this film is, you've watched these 5 of them before, therefore you'd be interested that they're doing this, and they're filming in London.
Yeah.
And so in a way, I'm up for more data, because that would be interesting. I must admit, if there was an algorithm that was going to predict what I was going to buy, I'd actually deliberately, and this is and I don't know whether it's a Swedish thing, but I would deliberately buy the opposite of it, because I knew the algorithm was going to predict something. But you know that.
Yeah, I mean, I would too, probably, because I'd allow my phone to know, okay, you're in your car, you're coming up on your house. Do you want us to boot? Do you want us to boot your house? Like, do you want us to start it? Do you want us to do your macchiato so it's ready when you get inside? Yes. I don't mind sharing data. I know exactly what type of data I share, but now that we start producing we're creating a new behavior. New behaviors create new types of data, and an entirely new type of data will carry a whole new values, like finding a new element. So this is going to be worth so much more. And if you don't start learning about the value of what you create every day, especially now, I mean, the next step is going to be active implants. So even if my forward-facing camera, I can do stone face. If I look like that on every ad, they're going to just, okay, oh, boring dude. Okay, we know the infrastructure works, but we're not getting anything from poker facing. However, if I streamed biodata and my breathing frequency and my heart rate rates, signal substances in my brain, whatever, that's, I can't fake that, because that's the only true data I'll ever produce, unless, I don't know, hypnosis. I mean, there's like Shaolin monks and KGB agents that can totally stay.
So you talked about how you could stream biodata, and the fact that if you were streaming that, you could actually get a thing on your Apple Watch or whatever. It says you need to go and see a doctor because you got an irregular heartbeat or something.
I mean, I get inspired by Tim Cannon and a lot, because when he did the circadia implant on himself, it could provide him with very rudimentary, like temperature and his heartbeat. It was big as a deck of cards in his forearm and looked amazingly, fantastically low tech, and had green LEDs in it, which was amazing. But just having a few more data points and a giant data pool, and have algorithms and AI kind of crunch it, it could dictate or predict basically anything. So just put any health information into this algorithm and this system, and it will tell you if you're a male 35, between 35 and 45, and you drink 2 bottles of wine a day and only eat steaks, you're very much prone to get cardiovascular complications, which is boring. I mean, if you get kind of a step-by-step tutorial showing how you can avoid it, you would also avoid spending hundreds and billions in subsidies on treating cardiovascular complications that come out of lifestyle choices. I mean, unless you see it and gamify it, basically, people don't care. If they can see the value and you get those short bursts of reward, so you get a little dopamine a couple of times an hour, it's all fun and games. But unless you get that, you're going to turn to that bottle of wine, steak, and a free game on iPad. I mean, I'm the same. I spend hours a month on video games and stuff just because, well, I've done it always. But then again, your brain kind of it needs a little boost every now and then.
So one of the things you talked about was having the fact that if you could be in a situation where the live biofeed would actually check that you'd actually had something wrong with your heart. You then talk about you could actually then it would actually print something on a 3D printer, and then you could get a drone to deliver it to you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I usually talk about what's the word again? But if you're arrhythmic, so arrhythmia is one of the from the age of 30 and up. It's very, very common with arrhythmic episodes. So if you get it, you feel it, and it's like, oh shit, heart attack, I'm gonna die. But it lasts for 5 minutes. If you go to the doctors, you're gonna wait for 4 or 5 hours for a cardiologist, and when you get there, you're not gonna have a arrhythmic episode. So you go home, you go back the next time, you go home. The third time you might die if it's severe. And that creates a kind of a bad mood. So having something that measures it and says, okay, so can you please verify and authorize the use of this snippet of an arrhythmic episode? Yes. Can I send it to your cardiologist? Yes. Okay, fine. In 2 minutes, an algorithm could crunch, okay, this is probably this, and it get looked over by a cardiologist. And in a matter of 2 minutes, you can have a drone, just swing by with blood pressure medicine. And that's it. Boom, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, perhaps 10. But I mean, in comparison, the entire chain of happenings that you need to go through to actually get to the hospital, the logistics and the administration it takes to administer you while in the hospital physically, and the cost and time, the cost for everyone else in both time and resources, it's possible. We can do it. And I just think it's ridiculous that we don't.
And this is what you were saying right at the beginning. We talked about data and the importance of you actually owning your data, because what we have is that, because some people watching this would be saying, well, wouldn't want to stream have a live biofeed because I want some privacy in that. But what you're saying is that what we need to do is flip what we have at the moment on its head, because we need to take control of that. And while there's some things that we can, there's some scary things that could happen. We need to take control of that.
There's things that are going to happen if we don't take control of the data, because this technology is moving into the body, period. It started and it's not going to stop. We've always put ourselves in the technology, but now it's reversed. We're putting technology in our bodies to enhance. And it's like stopping the internet. It started, it grew, it's global. It's never going to stop. It's going to change form. It's going to kind of move around, but it's always going to be there. Same as this. I mean, having the chance to dictate how it develops and being on top of the development, the only way to go forward, because if we don't, someone else will have that control. And you really want to be the one having control of your own. It's the essence of you. So if you don't control it, you're very much not free.
Yes.
Since you can, there's really no reason not to, because you can have the exact status quo that you're in now. Rather, you can flip a switch and say, okay, it's mine. I'm turning it off. I'm going off grid. You can't do that now unless you choose. So we can do it in Europe. The rest of the world might fall in line. Who knows? But when we create this type of commerce, you being your own owner, your personal owner, and being able to monetize of the value that you create, people will see that, and that will create jealousy, and that will create people wanting it. That will make companies adjust. And I mean, we do live in a democracy-ish, but it's a symbiotic existence between market influence and governments, because one can't do without the other. And so, I mean, when we become the commercial force and we are the value, that's when, I guess, hoping that you can do a lot of serious change. Because if you're already the product, so why not be your own salesman and kind of be your own store? Or you can leave the doors open, but at least you can choose to shut the doors and get paid.
And I think that's one of the big things that people didn't get around the Cambridge Analytica thing, was that still on Facebook, the reason why it's free is because you're the product.
Yeah. But Cambridge Analytica paid 20,000 people worth of, they took the data from 50 million, which is, that's a good scheme. I guess. They got caught though, so it's not that good.
Well, yeah, they did.
No, I think it's just the psychometrics, just stealing someone's psychometrics. It's like, taking your diary or something, or having just putting a spy cam in your house. Just it's repulsive. I think it's in so many words. So I hope, but they're going to get a slap on the wrist and a couple of £1 million, fine, perhaps. So what's that out of the billions they made? I mean, so it's like giving a bank, there's a fine. Oh no, we're gonna crash and burn. You need to bail us out with tax money. But it's a good system. It's very flawed, but there's people with, what do you call it, sandpaper. You can grind down the edges.
So your recommendation to people is to grab hold of is to watch their data, and when they can, to grab hold of it.
You really need to, because you can. This is the first time ever, and if they scrap the GDPR, you're probably never going to get the chance again. So if you want to be able to just make money while you sleep, you can just make sure you control your data. Buy a sleeping app. You're going to provide valuable data while you sleep as well. I mean, just the fact that the phone basically knows that, okay, between these hours, this person is sleeping because nothing's happening on the phone. Because the last thing you do, you check some last updates on your phone, then you put it by your bed, and then you wake up. with it. You're always producing valuable data. There's always value in all data because there's always someone that wants some part of it. So there's just the intrinsic value of you is just amazeballs because there's always something to make money off as long as you just have it. So take it.
Yeah, we're now up to 30 minutes. It's been fascinating. Great talking to you. I've learned a lot. I hope people watching this have learned a lot. Remind people where they can get hold of you.
One person watching.
Well,
that's me.
when it goes on YouTube. So remind people where they can get hold of you on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, Jowan Österlund, or you just search for Biohax International.
Yep.
I'm on Twitter on occasion every 3 months or so.
Right.
So we have a handle, Biohax Int.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you for your time today. It's been insightful, and good luck with your data.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
And you. Take care. Bye.